Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hope everybody enjoyed the reception for the mosaic out there, which is beautiful and right outside this room.
You did?
Just going over some of the protocols for the meeting as we do at the beginning of each meeting. The meeting is being videotaped. We started doing that for people who can't attend on certain nights. So we ask that anybody who speaks to address the board go to the microphone at the end of the table. They'll turn it around so that you can use that one. We think that's going to work okay. So, and that way the people who couldn't attend the meeting can also hear your comments. A few other reminders. A Board of Education meeting is a meeting held in public, not a public meeting. Anyone who wishes to address the board can do so during one of the community participation periods. There's two specifically designated. Some of the topics that some of you have brought up prior to the meeting have been added to the agenda, including the issue of Math 6A, so we have a specific item for that, so should probably wait till that point in the agenda, but we will be addressing that. Anybody who wants to address the board should address the board directly rather than sending something to an administrator or Dr. Bowers, and then we'll decide whether to respond at that point, whether to refer to someone. It's just the protocol is to address the board directly. And we would also ask when you do use the microphones if you can state your name. That also helps for the record. I think that's basically it, so we'll go ahead and get started. And the first item is 2.1, additions to the agenda. Does anybody have an addition that didn't already make it on the agenda? No. Okay. 2.2, approval to the agenda. We need a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Then 2.3 is approval of the minutes. We need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th, 2014 regular meeting and budget hearing, which were all right on the same night. Any corrections or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a pretty long consent agenda tonight, so please bear with me while I read through these. And then at the end, we'll just have a motion to adopt all the motions that are within it. We have 3.1, a motion to accept the treasurer's report. 3.2, the financial report was provided for information. All of this is available on board docs. 3.3, consideration of claims. We need a motion authorizing the district treasurer to pay the schedule of claims. 3.4, the transportation report provided for information. 3.5, the cafeteria report provided for information. 3.6, authorization to transfer funds. That will be a motion authorizing the superintendent to make necessary fund transfers for the remainder of the 2013-14 school year. 3.7, authorization for payment of final bills. That's a motion authorizing the superintendent to pay claims during the period from June 20th of 14 to June 30th of 14. 3.8, the bus bond. That's a motion to adopt the bond resolution of the Hamilton Central School District authorizing the issuance of bonds and other obligations for the purchase of one full-size, 72 capacity school bus at a maximum cost of $95,000, the payment of such amount by the levy of a tax which may be collected in annual installments, and in anticipation of such tax, the issuance of bonds and bond anticipation notes in the principal amount not to exceed $95,000, and the levy of a tax to pay the interest on said obligations. Under the local finance law, the period of probable usefulness of the bus is 5 years. Such resolution shall be kept available for public inspection in the district offices during regular business hours for 20 days following publication. Then we have 3.9, infrastructure bond, which is a motion to adopt the bond resolution of the Hamilton Central School District authorizing the issuance of bonds and other obligations for infrastructure changes to prepare the district's boilers for conversion to natural gas at a total cost not to exceed $40,000, the payment of such amount by the levy of a tax which may be collected in annual installments, and in anticipation of such tax, the issuance of bonds and bond anticipation notes in the principal amount not to exceed $40,000, and the levy of a tax to pay the interest on said obligations. Under the local finance law, the period of probable usefulness of the conversion project is 10 years. Such resolution shall be kept available for public inspection in the district offices during regular business hours for 20 days following this publication. Those were the two long ones. So, 3.10, the intermunicipal agreement. That's a motion to enter the intermunicipal agreement between the Hamilton Central School District and the Madison Oneida BOCES from July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2016. 3.11, multi-year technology purchases. That's a motion to enter into a 4-year 2014-15, 2015-16, 2016-17, and 2017-18 contract with Madison Oneida Bose's for multi-year technology purchases not to exceed $54,911.62. 3.12 is memorandum of agreement. That's a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the superintendent of schools of Hamilton Central School and the local 200 United SEIU to amend the current agreement, which is July 1st, 2011 to June 30th, 2014. Article 10, wages, Section B, the new position of head cleaner shall be added to the schedule factors with a 1.3 factor assigned to that position. Old business on the consent agenda, we have a motion to rescind the approval of a non-resident application for the 2014-15 school year as recommended by the secondary principal. And that is all for the consent agenda. So do I have a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That brings us to our first opportunity for community participation. So if anyone wishes to address the board at this point, again, we just ask that you use the microphone and state your name and whatever you want to bring to us. Okay, take that as a no. Moving on to new business. We have a number of personnel items. First of all, Michael Day, a motion to accept the resignation of Michael Day as a tenured foreign language teacher effective August 31st, 2014, with sincere appreciation for services rendered to the district.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Always feels weird to be in favor of
I
these
know.
things. Okay. Moving on. Carrie DeSorty, motion to accept the resignation of Carrie DeSorty as a cleaner effective June 30th, 2014.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. You know what? My electronic version isn't working, so I didn't see it. Okay. Okay, Jennifer Reed, motion to accept the resignation of Jennifer Reed as school psychologist effective July 15th, 2014, with sincere appreciation for services rendered to the district. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. And then we have appointments. Ashley Stagner, motion to appoint Ashley Stagner as a probationary full-time art teacher effective September 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2017 at step 2 of the salary schedule. All those in favor? Aye. Monica Chamberlain, motion to appoint Monica Chamberlain as a probationary full-time elementary teacher effective September 1, 2014 through June 30th, 2016 at step 2 of the salary schedule. All those in favor? Doreen Lewis, motion to appoint Doreen Lewis as a probationary full-time head cleaner effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015 at step 3 of the salary schedule.
I'll second.
All those in favor? APPR lead teacher evaluators, motion to accept the recertification of Kevin Ellis, William Dowslin, and Dennis Roy as APPR lead teacher evaluators for the 2014-15 school year. All those in favor?
Aye.
Debbie, there isn't a motion for the workday. Is that anything that needs to have a motion or?
It does every year.
Okay. So we'll need a motion to approve the hours and days for the listed positions in the agenda. All those in favor? Athletic director, motion to approve Jennifer Dean as athletic director at 20% of step 8 of the salary schedule for 2014-15 as recommended by the superintendent. All those in favor? Part-time summer cleaners, motion to appoint Andrea Cass, Jonah Conley, Randy Jones, and Lorraine Kane as part-time summer cleaners effective June 30th, 2014 through August 29th, 2014. All those in favor? Then we have summer school teachers and subs, and before I read this motion, I just want to acknowledge that we're able to run this summer school because of funding from the Hamilton Emerald Foundation and the McNeese Foundation, so we really want to express our gratitude to them for being able to do this. And so to accomplish that, we need a motion to approve the following teachers for the 2014 summer school 6-week program, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 11 a.m., as recommended by the elementary and secondary principals and superintendent. All those in favor? Aye. Then we have fall coaches, which were listed here on the agenda, and we need a motion to appoint the following 2014 fall coaches as recommended by the athletic director.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. That brings us to 6.2, the CSE, CBSE recommendations. We need a motion to approve the recommendation of the committees on special education and preschool special education. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
6.3, non-resident tuition. We need I guess we need to decide if we're gonna, we can either table it to our July meeting or we can discuss it tonight. So, I don't know what the sense of the board is on that.
Well, the sooner, I'm sure it's better.
The predictability.
Okay.
So just, I guess we can't do the motion until we have a rate. So just to sort of remind everyone of the background, our rate for the current year was $5,000 per student. And that was quite a significant jump from our previous tuition, but we've been trying to move in the direction of making sure that those who come from outside the district are paying an amount that is worth the local share of what the district pays per student. So we've sort of been moving in that direction. We grandfathered in people who already had children or siblings in the district. So what we're talking about here, I assume, would continue to only apply to new people coming into the district that we're setting for next year. So for this year, we've been at 5,000. The local share is, I believe we learned, roughly 5,900. So does anyone want to propose an amount for this coming year that starts moving in that
I know
direction?
we've been working toward that every year, so maybe if we took half of that for this year, so that'd be 54.50.
And I have a question about the grandfathering. So is it siblings? So if you have a sibling here already, is it a new sibling coming in that is grandfathered in? So say a new student, are they grandfathered in at that sibling rate, or are they at the new rate?
I think we did it at the sibling rate.
The
It's like
sibling rate.
families that are,
So
families are
okay,
grandfathered in.
okay. So that is still going forward.
Yeah.
And how many?
Mhm.
How many are that? How many of those are we talking about?
That are paying, how many are we at then? We have a number of out-of-district students, but some don't pay because they're members
Right.
of faculty, they're members of their family. We would have to pull and look at which ones are paying tuition and which one. I think
we
it's a
have-
little bit more. For some reason, I wanted to say 16 kids. Yeah, so I think it's somewhere around there. It's
Do
not.
you know how many we had that were new, paying the $5,000 rate last year? Did it turn a lot of people away? Do you know how many?
No.
Well, do you want to make a motion, Bud, for that
Sure.
amount, and then we can see if there's
Yeah.
further discussion?
So I'll move that we set non-resident tuition for 2014-15 at 54.50.
For new people, new
new
families
people
coming
and
into the
new
district. Do we have
We'll
a
do a
second?
separate one for the existing, because theirs will change as well.
And
No,
we
they-
can add to that motion to continue the grandfathering in of families who have already been paying non-resident tuition.
So you're not increasing the amount.
I don't know, I haven't.
we've increased by the amount that the budget increases.
Okay.
So that's
In the
essentially
past.
Like 1.3%.
So,
Yeah.
or maybe 2%.
Okay.
We can increase.
So let's start all over. I'll move that we set non-resident tuition for new families at $54.50 and raise the tuition for currently enrolled non-resident families by the rate of the budget increase for 2014-15.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? And can we do this moving forward from today? Because I know last time we did it from the day that we voted. Is that when it would go into effect? So anyone who, from now on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
It was a tuition for coming to school.
Right, yeah. Then we have 6.4, the summer recreation bus. We need a motion to lease one school bus to the Village of Recreation Commission for the summer 2014 program with the following stipulations. The vehicle will be fully insured under the Village of Hamilton insurance policy for collision, comprehensive, fire, etc. All gas and oil will be provided by the Village of Hamilton, and an approved active school bus driver presently on the HCS roster, if available, will be used to drive the vehicle as required. Any discussion?
Last year I had some guy driving it sometimes. I was kind of like,
I didn't know you could drift a bus like that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 6.5, the class of 2014 certification. We need a motion to approve the class certification list for graduation, contingent on each member completing all graduation requirements.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in
The list has been checked.
All eligible, all 42.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
6.6, donation. We need a motion to accept a monetary donation of $1,026.50 from the Hamilton PTO with sincere appreciation, and to increase the district budget by this amount. I saw that was used for some field trips and also the elementary field trips. All those in favor? 6.7, softball trip for 2015. That would be a motion to approve the 2015 varsity softball team to spring training at Walt Disney Florida from March 26th through April 6th, 2015, with no financial burden to the district. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. 6.8, the Model UN trip. We need a motion to approve Model UN members between 6 and 8 to attend a 3-day conference in Montreal from November 6th through 9th, 2014, as recommended by the secondary principal. We need to note that the Board of Education reserves the right to cancel the trip if circumstances should arise concerning the safety of the students, and that will be expressed within the literature that will be supplied to the students and their parents. But for now, we're just voting at this point for them to go.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Brings us to information and correspondence. Starting with the administrator's reports. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
So there was an attachment.
Oh, it was the regent's schedule, I think.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't see it on there, but maybe I missed it. I don't really care. I just read it and I said, hey, it says there's an attachment.
That's our board's motto.
That's right.
We don't really care.
I'm not gonna like vote to not approve it based on the date. Well, that's a bad day for me.
It's good with taping.
It is good.
Exactly.
I'm trying to drum up attendance. People think it's
Controversy.
boring.
Okay, 7.2, the budget vote analysis.
Well, just amazing, we had 84% passing rate for this budget, and we'd like to thank the community for their support.
Absolutely.
And while I have the floor, I would
Yeah.
also like to introduce our two new board members that are here. Ellen Larson, welcome, and thank you for running and being part of our lives. And Carrie Monty, welcome. Retired teacher, and brought it right back. So, welcome.
Okay, and then our July reorganization and regular Board of Education meeting will be held July 9th at 5 o'clock. I believe I'm the only one who's not able to make that meeting. And then the 7.4, the 2014 senior class future plans, which is always exciting to see. Got some great accomplishments and plans. Anybody else want to comment on?
Seems like the biggest group, I think, folks going right into students.
Yeah, that
Couple
was a lot.
Marines, an Army, yeah.
And like all branches.
Yep.
7.5, the 2014-15 board meetings. We normally hold them on the third Tuesday. Does that still work for everyone? Yeah, I mean, everyone there's conflicts for everybody at some point, but as a general plan. Okay.
Mhm.
Great, we'll continue with that. Do you want to take over at this point? Yeah.
Yep.
this is-
7.6, district website. As part of the multi-year plan with BOCES, the technology plan, Denny has included in that funding to modify the district website. So, Denny, anything you'd like to share with that?
I know it's been an issue that we wanted to look at, that it's kind of a static website, but what we're finding is that social media is a better way to contact people, but we do know that the website needs a refresh. I think it kind of paid off waiting, because the only choice we had was school wires, and up until now it was a $10,000 fee just to get up and running with them. Fortunately, now that the RIC supports them more, that fee has been dropped, and this will actually pay for itself in 3 years, because it's that much cheaper than School World, which is being phased out because it was bought by Headline, which was bought by Blackboard, which was bought by blah, blah, blah. So it's I apologize for the wait, but I think financially it was the right move in the long run.
Good. Thank you. Okay, and then we would like to roll in the discussion of 7.7, the foreign language discussion, actually was 7.11, which is Math A. We have a number of things happening at a juncture right now with Mike Day moving and some of the changes in staffing. We have had families share concerns that we, at this point, do not have Math 6A in the budget. And it is the accelerated program, although the recommendation has been to wait till 7th grade to start accelerating in math. We know that there are some parents that have an interest in continuing with 6A. With that said, we had a part-time retired teacher that came back this year to work with us, Deb Curtis, that is not in the budget for next year. We also have to have a very serious conversation about how long we as a district can sustain 3 foreign languages. And now that we have a resignation in French, the question that I would like to pose here is whether or not we should be looking at phasing French out of the schedule, as we have hiring a part-time French teacher to ultimately phase French out, and then we would continue to teach Latin and Spanish. If we did that, we would be freeing up some funding that would allow us to hire in math, and that would allow for 6A to go and other supplemental supports in 4th and 5th grade to be returned, and additional supports in the SLC, the Student Learning Center, in math. And so since this opportunity has presented itself, this is now time for this discussion. And I'm just posing the thought. And I know that there are families that continue to want acceleration in math. I mean, we are simply at the point, we just can't keep doing everything we've always been doing. I mean, we just simply don't have the funding, and there has to be choices, and there has to be decisions. The question is the continuation of 3 languages in a little high school the size of Hamilton, is that sustainable? And should we be looking at putting the funding that's available to us now elsewhere, and potentially hiring a half-time French teacher, phasing it out for the students that are presently in the program, and then bringing more math support to the district?
How many students are taking French?
We had pretty good numbers coming in. Do you remember what we had? A solid French 7, which would not go because we would not be starting kids in it. And then we've had, but the numbers dwindle,
Right.
where we have small, like 10 and 11 by the time you get to a French 4. And we have strong numbers in Latin and in Spanish as well. And many of our kids have taken 2 languages. And it's usually either French and Latin or Spanish and Latin. And that would continue, but the reality is even large districts are not able to sustain 3 foreign languages anymore.
Do other language teachers have certification in another language or just?
Well, I know Dan is close to getting it, but I believe it's in Spanish. Yeah. And so that's not an option of multiple certifications.
So how do you get, so if you're just taking away French 7, and you're not very part-time, with your French teacher?
Well, then you would continue the kids that are already in the cycle, and
Right, so it doesn't seem like you'd be losing a lot of the teachers, like one class.
well, we would have French 8, which is, and then 2 and 3, so it would be, we would not be able to sustain French 4 and 8K.
Oh, okay.
So we would get them through what was the Regents curriculum. At the end of French 3 was when they would take the Regents. So that would be where we would be moving to.
And the actual languages of the Colgate option for juniors and seniors,
Yes.
languages are wonderful choices for students.
And that would
The
still be,
labs.
yep, still be available. So it appears, and please, Bill, if there's anything you'd like to say, I know that he's been really advocating very strongly for the increase in math support, and it's just, our kids really seem to need more than we have.
We have extreme need for both accelerated math and RTI math, and a supplemental support. I think with the STEM initiatives and the innovation and enrichment out there right now, we need to continue to offer the accelerated path to our students who are eligible for that. I think it's important that we offer the acceleration. And math, both at the elementary, middle, and high school level, we need that extra person. I would love to see 3 languages sustained and a math person, but from a budgetary standpoint, it just can't happen. So, with Mike leaving, this might be the time to at least discuss it and look at hiring another math person. Because I think it's really important to provide those services for all levels of kids.
You think we'll get good candidates for a part-time French teacher?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about the math position. Do you see that helping with accelerated students in high school as well, or just the 6A? Like, I mean,
Well, I think if we're able to hire a full-time math person, they could cover all of those areas. Obviously from 6A standpoint, keep the acceleration alive, from an RTI standpoint, and possibly the high school level, doing some STEM type of classes, with some technology support.
Sounds good to me.
My impression is that we do need some help with the math. And that it is opportune. It's not great to lose French, but I think we do need help with math as opposed to just writing it.
There's not a motion at this point, right? It's this is sort of a sense of the board type thing, or?
Well, it doesn't, you don't need to approve it, it's more of a discussion that we have your conceptual nod that this is the direction you want to go, because right now we're in hiring season.
Right.
And so, it would be, what we're doing is taking money that's presently in the budget and just reallocating it to different areas if this is the direction to go.
We would like to have some community discussion before that goes
Well, there's
through.
another opportunity for this.
Yeah.
We're thinking we might want to, go
Yeah,
ahead.
there are some discussions about the involved personnel issues that we could, that I would like to visit in executive session. obviously. Tangentially related to this.
All right. So we'll have a little further discussion on that and then we'll give a sense. And I guess one important question to ask is if there was a decision not to do away with French, what would be the possibilities for 6A? Like, is there anywhere else that could come from, or any other way to do it that would not involve doing away with the French program, just so we have the full picture?
Well, our math teachers are full, correct?
Yeah. The only viable option would be to take our eligible 6A students and immerse them in the 7th grade math curriculum. And our math teachers are looking at the curriculum right now and identifying some gaps, because there would be some gaps, and how do we cover them with the current 7th grade curriculum and bring those kids up to speed for the 7th grade curriculum. That would be the only option without hiring to keep our acceleration going. Take those 6A kids and put them in 7th grade now.
Would that just make them large 7th grade classes?
Yep, we already have 2 sections of 7th grade.
Because you're not adding another section, because otherwise that could just be 6A.
Right.
Lynn, if you want to make a comment now, I mean, this is, the discussion, so.
Well, my name is Lynne Holcomb, and I actually don't need a microphone. I talk very
You
loud.
do.
I do for this. Okay.
For the camera.
Okay. Hi, my name is Lynne Holcomb, and I'm actually the parent of a 5th grade student who would be affected by this 6A math next year. And there's other parents here that fall into a similar category that are supporting. And I think from my standpoint, I'm not as concerned as that it's called 6A, but it's about teaching the students where they're at and continuing to challenge them. And I mean, it was already brought up, a lot of the points I wanted to bring up about the importance of STEM development and STEM industry, and sort of looking at where careers and opportunities are going, that we need to make sure we're providing our students with a base, because the middle school years are going to be the foundation for where they can go in high school. And if we don't invest at this point in giving the students that base, they're going to be losing out continually as they move forward. My big question when Bill mentioned that there's an opportunity of moving into 7th grade, I'm glad the teachers are looking at the curriculum gaps, because I know that's been a discussion point a lot with the core curriculum, as this cohort of students in elementary school have hit a lot of that core curriculum immersion, and there's been some concern about curriculum gaps. And now if we're putting them, despite maybe being more accelerated than some of their peers, putting them in a situation where there's even more known gaps in classes that may be larger. That was one of my concerns. Like, what are we talking about with class sizes? And we've had a huge benefit in the elementary school, which has been fabulous, of being able to be in very small classes. I mean, hiring, Erica Reichert this year for 5th grade and keeping classes in ELA and math at, 15 to 18 students has been really instrumental to help these 5th graders adjust to the pace, more writing, more expectations in the classroom as they transition to middle school. And I think building in curriculum gaps and building in a very different academic classroom environment from what we've been able to offer them in elementary, I'm just concerned that it's setting them up to have some challenges that they don't necessarily deserve to face. You know, for me, I'm not so concerned what it's called, if it's 6A or how you get there, but the last thing we want to do is affect the motivation and drive and interest in learning of some of our brighter students. And particularly for me, for Brad, and this is personal for me, I mean, math and science is his only hope for acceleration. You know, he's not going to be that guy on the humanities side. So, you know, I really think it's so critical to keep that inspiration going for him. And he's honestly already really bored in 5th grade math. And I'm very concerned about what that means as we move forward for just the personal growth. And I think, you know, the other parents joining here tonight all have students in a very similar capacity. And I'm very, very sensitive to the challenges the board has. You know, I know we're trying to do everything on a really small dime, but I just really am glad, you know, I believe in foreign languages and the global world and that preparation as well. I absolutely do. But math is a core academic area, and I just really get concerned about, as you said, it's not even just 6A. This is a continuum, the whole middle school and high school curriculum, that I just would hate to see us have to make a sacrifice at our kids' expense.
Thanks. If anyone else wants to comment on this specific issue.
Hi, my name is Astrid Helfan. I just have a few questions about the French program. When would the French program actually start? What grade? And I'm sorry for my ignorance here. It starts in 7th grade, and then it goes all the way up till 12th grade.
We do have a couple of students that are in AP classes, but it has ended at French 4. And we have some students that enrich it and go beyond that for French AP.
Okay, and that in itself is a full-time position.
During French 4.
And so an incoming full-time French position would be roughly how much?
Minimum of 5 classes.
But the salary?
Well, it depends on the teacher.
No, I understand that.
Beginning salaries right now, we're probably looking at, we use the number of 50,000 as.
So we would be saving $25,000 by going the part-time route.
I don't know if we can say 25,000. We would be saving money that would free up money for math, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But yes, we would have additional funding to spend in math if we did not hire a full-time French teacher.
I mean, I completely agree with everything that Lynne just said. I know I at least have a half of my set of twins that would definitely benefit from the enrichment for math, possibly both of them. But I know there might be parents out there that would benefit from French, so I don't want to say either or, but that's basically my statement.
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Ferdinand from Munich. I would like to say a couple of things. One, too bad that he left. What a parting gift for Mr. Day. Here we say, thank you for your services, and we're going to kill your language as soon as you're out the door. I find that really sad. And I think he would too if he knew about it. And if he hears about it tomorrow for his last couple of days at Hamilton Central School, I think he won't be happy that is what happens. The second thing is I'm all for math, for accelerated math, all that kind of stuff. I'm totally for it. Actually, we had that discussion in the budget cycle. And that's where it should happen. It should be put in the budget. I personally would say let's raise taxes so we can afford the things that are essential. When the budget process happened, we say let's continue French. And at this point, we are not going to put extra money for this in it. Now we're coming back after the budget has been decided and put to the vote and say, April Fools, we're going to kill French and put that money into math. I find that very problematic in terms of your relationship to the voters who had no say in this because they voted on the budget. as it was presented to them, and there was no talk at the time about doing away with French. So I really find that problematic too. I find it problematic philosophically. Global learners, read the pages on foreign languages. He's very, very strong about foreign languages. I think we need them too. And I agree it shouldn't be a trade-off. But the question and that will be the question for the next budget cycle. We might even save some money by replacing Mr. Day with a new hire. I guess he was a little bit expensive after a couple of years than he was initially. Maybe we can free up a little bit of money that would help towards, I guess Math 6A is one course. And now we're talking about sacking an entire position in French, adding an entire position in math to make 6A possible next year. I find that really questionable. And I would urge the board, A, to reconsider this with a lot of time, and B, to also involve the community. Nobody has known about this. To put this out and get some feedback from everybody in the Hamilton community to see what they think about it, and not just ram this through when nobody's paying attention, because nobody expects it. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Lynne Holcomb again. I just have a question that may, and first of all, I think when we came on the agenda tonight, I had no idea of I actually feel a little uncomfortable that this is being presented as an either or, because we just came to advocate for math. So it was with no understanding of a language. Was it presented, because I do admit I went to broad budget meetings but didn't dissect it. Was it clear to community members that the 6A and accelerated options wouldn't be available in math? Because I just am asking that question for clarification.
Well, I don't know to say if is it 6A that may not be available? Yes. Are we looking at having something replacing it? Yes. So I don't even know if it's necessarily clear right now.
Okay. I just wanted to be respectful if I had missed something that was clear to the community that this was a potential of not being available.
Well, this has been a repeated discussion for the last 3 years.
Okay.
We've been.
It was mentioned. I thought it was an issue of numbers also, in terms of numbers of children, who might be doing it, but I can't remember the specifics.
Okay.
I don't know. We have a full class that we would put in.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Hi, so Ellen Larson, so I guess I'm still technically community because I haven't officially jumped the line. But yeah, I mean, I guess what I would say is it makes me really sad that we're talking about eliminating French. And the global learner thing, I think, is real. And again, it's the either or problem. The problem of discussing this as either or is terrible. And again, I get it. I get the finances of it and all of that. But again, I think the global learner thing is an issue. And I was just sort of searching here real quickly. Top global languages for business, French is number 2. So if we're going to start analyzing our language program, the idea of eliminating French may not be the best approach to analyzing our language program. But it also seems to me like the language program would be an ideal opportunity to be working with other districts to find a financially achievable way to do this. I mean, math seems like it needs to be in-house. If we're going to put more math help in, we need to do it in-house. Language seems like an opportunity to be starting to look at having these shared curriculums or these the online curriculums or that sort of thing.
The next discussion item is blended learning.
Yeah.
So that also comes into play. But I would just like to go on record because I feel that there's a need to speak about the way in which it's depicted that we're making these decisions. We dislike as much as you do, Ferdinand, the fact that we are making these decisions or even discussing these decisions. It is not something we're choosing. It's not something we want to do. It is something we are forced to do in order to make the budget balanced. And I think it should go on record that we would very much like to keep everything going. We simply can't. And so right now it's an opportunity based on a circumstance of events, and this discussion is occurring because it is an opportunity to look at the program as a whole and make decisions based on the needs of the students.
And maybe just to add that, this happens all the time. So this feeling that the community isn't aware or doesn't know. I mean, it just happens all the time. Teachers come and go, and you say, is it still the best fit for the district? There are other needs. So it happened my 16 years on the board, and I when it comes to language arts, maybe just following Ellen had shared, you know, we had started offering independent study in the later grades, and I know that two of my kids learned other languages independently because they took Latin at Hamilton. One took Latin and Spanish, the other just really followed through with Latin. But it gave them enough of a base, and it is a language that you can provide that that opportunity. Maybe it's just going to look differently. So it's just looking at how to do it differently. It may feel like the body is how you fill that body and use those funds and where those needs are for students. But with languages, there are other opportunities that can happen if you have that good base. So no one's going to take 3 languages, coming into 7th grade. And so just something to consider with our independent studies. My husband, who never took the language, did this website to learn Spanish before he went to Barcelona. He's like, well, I guess I better learn. I said, could you? Because I don't have time. And, he went to Colgate and said, hey, I got like 3 months. Can I learn something? And they said, well, yeah, here's this website you can go to. And he picked up enough that I was like, wow, it's pretty good. To get by. So I just want to share that sometimes it's new ways to look at it. So just maybe to echo it.
Right. And there are other opportunities in going into 7.8, which is the blended learning. The Board of Regents allows up to 6 credits of online credits for the full 22 for graduation. So there are opportunities to supplement some of the things either on the Hill or with these kind of blended learning courses. And I don't think somebody without any French would do well in a Colgate class, but there's an opportunity to take the preliminary classes that would allow if that was a direction that they want to go. I just want to reiterate that it's not that we are wiping out French. It would be slowly be removed from the process. And I think that it's something that it's a consideration for the board.
Did you want to talk more about blended learning?
No, I think it was just that we've been talking, more and more kids seem to have an interest in taking courses that may not be offered here in blended learning. And I think Bill, what do you have, about 3 or 4 kids that have been talking about the possibility of taking it next year, so we just wanted to put it on the agenda.
Safer is actually taking some online standard classes for the standard.
Well, there's a lot of colleges getting into offering MOOCs and a lot of really high quality institutions, so that does open up a lot of possibilities. Anybody else have any questions?
I just want to make a comment about the timing of this, that this is not something that's been, trying to push through without the community seeing what's going on and trying to do this for everyone. We're trying to be transparent. I mean, none of us knew this was leaving. We just unfortunately accepted this resolution tonight. So, like you said, it's just people come and go, and you have to consider all of the things. I just want it to be out there that this is not something that's trying to be pushed through while the community might be sleeping during summer.
And it's information that's different than what we had as we were doing the budget. So, we have to respond to circumstances.
Also, I just want to say that there has been a lot of public comment to us about that.
Not just 6A either. Okay, 7.9 superintendent search update. I don't have a big update, but now that we have our interim ready to go, and we know who our board members moving forward are going to be. I contacted Jackie Starks, who's the BOCES district superintendent, to have her come and give a presentation about the services that BOCES can provide for a superintendent search. So she will be doing that. We're trying to schedule it, and I think we're looking at July 8th in the evening. It will be open to the public, so we need to confirm that date, but that's the plan. And so what she would do is come and talk to us about the services that BOCES can provide for superintendent search, what the timetable would be like, just a lot of the details that we'll need to be looking at to get started on this search now that we have the other pieces in place. So we are moving forward with that. We should have a meeting with her in early July, and then we'll know more after that. And the other thing to remind people of is that BOCES does not charge for its superintendent search services other than out-of-pocket expenses. So we're, because of budget reasons, we're certainly leaning heavily towards having them do the search, but also having the board heavily involved, or at least certain members of the board will be very hands-on with this process. So we'll announce as soon as we have a specific date and time for that. And also there'll be a lot of community opportunity to be involved in the superintendent search process, so we will be discussing that as well. 7.10, a reception for Dr. Bowers. She will be leaving us soon, and there is a reception tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 6 at the Colgate Inn. That will involve a lot of former board members and faculty, a lot of people, but if you're able to stop by and would like to do so, you're more than welcome. And we will be honoring her for her service to the district before she moves on. And I guess that just brings us to, because we've already talked about Math 6A, that brings us to the second opportunity for community participation. We did fold a lot of that into the prior discussion, but if there's anything anybody wants to address the board on at this point, please feel free.
Me again. So what is a MOOC?
Oh, it's a massive online. It's basically like a college course. It's a course that's taught online.
Okay.
Massively open online course, I think it is.
Okay.
And Colgate's getting into it. Stanford does a bunch of them. A lot of big institutions are now putting certain courses online that, I think some are with a fee and some are not. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's very high quality instruction that's available to anybody who can log onto a computer and perhaps pay a fee.
And is it one course is 1 credit when you say they can have 6 online credits for
Yes,
graduation?
high
One
school
course
yes.
is 1 credit.
Mhm.
Okay. And I also just wanted to throw in that I was talking to a board member from Stockbridge today, and they used the BOCES services for their very recent superintendent search, and were incredibly pleased with how those services went and how it worked. So it was a glowing recommendation for that process.
Excellent. And we have also talked to the people who were involved in our last superintendent search who worked with BOCES and sort of gotten tips from them about, how it worked and how we might want to do things differently. So, but that's good to hear because that was very recent. So great. Thank you.
And I just need a minute when everyone's finished.
Okay. Does anybody else have any?
Hello, Ferdinand from München again. 2 quick things. One going back to the point with math and languages. If anything can be done more easily on a computer than face-to-face, it's math. The Khan Academy has great stuff. So if we had to substitute anything with distance learning math, you can learn much better with stuff like that than you can in a foreign language. All sorts of research shows it. The second thing is something that hasn't been mentioned yet, but that I've heard about a lot from other parents, and that is this year's awards ceremony at HCS. A lot of people were unhappy with it because apparently we're handing out a lot fewer awards than in the past, in middle school particularly, but also in the early grades of high school. I find that problematic. We tell students to aim high, and when they aim high and succeed, we don't recognize them. I find that counterproductive. I understand that people had grievances that you hear no matter what you do, you hear parents complaining, and parents are complaining, oh, there are all these ridiculous GPA numbers. Personally, I agree we don't have them to the second decimal point and so on. We could do this without GPA points. But we should recognize our students. I think we owe that to them. And actually not just the best, but also there were all these wonderful awards by the teachers for most improved and on all these kinds of things, special effort here and there. I think it would be great if next year, this time comes around, the board, just like you discuss policy on punishments and stuff. And I think there are actually questions about that with taking recess away. But so we should also really have a district policy and discussion about rewards and not just punishments. And I think maybe next year before the time comes, you guys can get together and have that discussion. The second aspect of that is communication. The students didn't know, the parents didn't know. Some families, the older kid got a letter, you're invited to the awards ceremony. The younger one got one last year, didn't get one this year, didn't know what was going on, thought, I guess I screwed up, I guess I didn't make it this year. Nobody communicated this to them. So goal district number, whatever, 3 or 4, what it is, communication. I'm sorry, but you administrators, you've got to talk to the students, and if possible, you've got to talk to the parents too. And if you make a major change, which you can change the award ceremony from one year to the other, but you have to let people know that you're doing it. It's not okay to just let rumors fly. And down to the last day, people were wondering and asking, friends were asking, have you gotten a letter? I haven't gotten a letter. I wonder what's going on. And some families, the parents were freaking out. Some people get a little intense about this. And so just for future reference, please do communicate. And if you don't, please acknowledge that something went wrong. Thank you.
Well, I can tell you why we made the decision, and then I can ask Bill to respond to that. For the last probably 3 to 4 years, we have received a number of letters and concerns shared by parents about the way, especially the middle school awards ceremony, where kids would be asked to come, and all the kids would be sitting there, and many of them would leave without anything. And so we decided at this point that the middle school awards would change. We do have, the only thing I believe that didn't occur with the high school awards are the top 5. And we have moved away through the years. We've had conversations about the ranking and it became extremely competitive. So the high school awards were similar, with the exception of the top 5. Everything else was the same. But it was, we've been trying to balance, we've been trying to be responsive. And I don't know if there's anything you want to talk about with it as far as the communication.
So, just that might have been an oversight, but equals the expectation is that the year of change.
Yes. Okay, anybody else? I don't know if there's any other comments. All right, well, I have a couple people I would like to thank. We have 2 wonderful community members that have stepped in and been part of our board this year, Stephanie and Barb. We thank you so much for your time and your service, and it's been invaluable. Barb, I know that this was after many, many, many years on the board to come back again. You had to get everybody up to speed. Well, I mean, you were 11 years? 12? 15, yeah. So we really appreciate it. And Stephanie, you know that we were thrilled to have you come on and to help us out in this situation. So we have a couple updates.
That brings us to needing a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss the employment of a particular employee and the status of negotiations with the HTA and SEIU. And the personnel part of the matter.
Actually, just for the sake of we also need the employment history of a particular person as opposed to a person.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, do we have that motion? All those in favor?